Chapter 10. Anger After Trump. A Bee in the Mouth concluded with an exhortation to Americans to get control of new anger, lest it overwhelm our good judgment. Too late for that now. This time, I conclude that we should put our national anger to some practical use. I'd like to see the country avoid violent confrontation and channel its wrath into ways that wrest the powers of government back into the hands of those who love our ordered liberty and hold our founding principles in high regard. But I see around us the possibility of a more catastrophic form of confrontation, and I believe that eventuality is welcomed and encouraged by some of the leading figures on the American left who calculate that they can gain even greater power if they trigger outright rebellion by populists. Some on the conservative right, fearful of such an explosion, seek to marginalize the populists and to restore a more genteel form of political opposition to the radicals who are now in charge. I am arguing for a different avenue, an unabashed nationalism that embraces our constitutional order. Can wrath be channeled into such a thing? In this chapter, I return to the subject of how performative anger has now burned nearly to the end of its fuse. Donald Trump is a major figure in that story, but far from the whole of it. Trumpian Rage. On September 15, 2020, Simon & Schuster published a new book by Bob Woodward of Watergate fame titled Rage. The cover features a close-up photograph of the right half of Donald Trump's unsmiling face. The nearly 400 pages of text mostly recount Woodward's 17 or possibly 18 interviews with Trump for 7 months, starting in December 2019. Woodward also interviewed many other people who served at some point in the Trump administration. The book never lays out the actual sequence of interviews, as Woodward splices together bits and pieces from different times and different people. As a source for future historians, it will be a nightmare. But as a register of the emotional climate around President Trump, Rage is indispensable. The book's title is, at first glance, an indictment of Donald Trump as a man of unbridled anger, and Woodward feeds that impression throughout the book, even as his quotations and descriptions veer in other directions. The rage in question is not necessarily Trump's rage, but the rage he induces in his critics.